A quantum leap is you make a massive jump forward on your timeline. And we have been told that like a quantum leap is always going to land us in like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this amazing thing arrived in my life. Look at this. I quantum leaped into this. I'm here to challenge that, especially as it relates to our day to day life. Because here's what happens if we believe that that is what a quantum leap is, then when we make decisions that dramatically shift the trajectory of our life, which might take years for them to fully play out before we see them being the quantum leap, we will beat ourselves up the whole way there. Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we talk about manifestation, money, and practical guidance to creating your dream reality. My name is Amy Van Meel, and I am an experienced coach and transformation guide, obsessed with helping you get out of your own way and create a life that blows your mind each day you wake up. My goal in this podcast is to share practical manifestation, self-awareness, and growth techniques in real talk conversations. So if you're ready to massively transform your reality, your finances, your relationships, and your overall enjoyment of life, you are in the right place. I am absolutely delighted that you're here with me today, babe. Let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. My name is Amy. I'm really happy and chill to be here with you today. It's been a week. It is Friday as I'm recording this. I have been all over the map, I feel like, emotionally and mentally and physically for the last few months. And the last 4 or 5 weeks before this week really threw me for a loop. I mean, if you've heard the last few episodes, you'll know that I was really battling a challenging cold, and I think I talked about my back, having been sort of re-injured, and it's been just a challenging, 4 or 5 weeks, which has also taken me completely out of any sense of routine that I had. So this week was kind of a big week for me. I finally broke up my planner, planned out my week. And I have this amazing planner that I found at Costco in December. And I just write all my activities. And then when I finish the activity for the day, I check it off. And it feels so satisfying. And I've been learning this week, so I'm learning some deep knowledge about habits. I'm very excited that I'll share whenever that comes through to actually channel through a podcast episode on habits. Um, but one of the really cool things that I learned this week is that our brain loves to see progress like this. So things like checking off items on a list. I mean, we know it's just satisfying to do it, but it's actually our brain really it's like, oh my gosh, give me more of that. So that's very exciting. It's also officially the end of ski season. Monday was my last day out on the mountain. Very sad. Ski season is over again. We're another 6 or 7 months or so away from the next ski season. Yes, I am already counting the days. I enjoy summer. I love being outside when it's warm. I love walking outside, running outside, hanging out with the family at the cabin, all that kind of stuff. But skiing is my jam, and you can't do that in the summertime. Although I know some of my friends are very excited because they're like, "Oh my gosh, finally you're not gone every weekend." So today's episode is coming from one of the days that I took myself out skiing. So I want to just very quickly touch on this. I've talked about this a little bit before, but I think this is important enough that it bears repeating. Moving our body is super, super powerful for generating clarity, for processing emotions, for clearing our mind. Okay. So just movement, period, does not have to be something like extreme sport. It literally can just be you walking like up and down your hall or doing some shaking or dancing. There's a reason why dancing feels super good. So movement is really, really powerful. I've been feeling very, very low for some time. Really struggling in my mental space with s- just I'm in this I've heard different terms to describe it, like the void, an ego death, a shamanic death, things like that. I feel very much I'm in that like tunnel of darkness, which is a super unfun place to be. And as ski season was drawing to a close, what I realized was I was really, really craving being in the mountains, but I was being challenged with the I suppose, belief that, like, you have to, like, earn your days off, right? Like, I can't just go skiing in the middle of the week, which is stupid. Of course, I can go skiing in the middle of the week because I can literally work anytime that I want to. So I just adjust to get my tasks done, outside of that. So, this particular awareness that I'm going to be sharing with you in the podcast today came as a result of listening to the calling of my heart asking me to go spend time in the mountains, asking me to go out and ski, asking to be moving my body, to just be in nature. And it was, I think, the second or third ski day that I was out. The first couple was like, I call them long thoughts days, where I just was contemplating like the meaning of life and trying to understand and integrate some of the deep, deep learning and knowledge and awareness that I've been receiving for the last like 2 months or so. And once those bits started to integrate and started to well, integrate really is the best like way to describe it. And the chatter started to quiet down. That was big. There was like it was probably a day and a half of skiing for the chatter to soften, so that wasn't this like constant voice in my head, just going in every possible direction and driving me crazy, right? So it took some time for that to settle. And this is again like mountains, movement, fresh air, really, really powerful for that. For me, you will have your own thing. And then this came through, and I'm very excited to share it with you today. So I was thinking about quantum leaps. Um, that is incorrect. Let me say that differently. I was thinking about the stuff, the decisions that I'd made in the last couple of years and was kicking up an old neural pathway, which was to go down this well-worn path of beating myself up and constantly wondering if I made a mistake. So let's put some clarity on that so you can follow through the example. I'll give you a ton of examples through the course of this episode because I want to really clarify this for you. I want to really make sure that this is crystal clear before we finish the episode. So the first example that I'll use is my decision to leave my job, right? Leave the job behind in the last quarter of 2023. I was just married. Like I got married literally the month before. I just turned 40 a couple months before that. I think I've shared before that when I came back to work immediately after the wedding, I had a anxiety attack, which I've never had before in my life, which was what prompted me to finally take the action to say it's time to leave my job. Now, none of us has a crystal ball that says exactly how, a decision that we're making today is going to play out going forward. So I left the job in full trust and faith that I was stepping fully into my business and that I would be wholly supported on the way through. And that is true. And also, it has not looked the way that I would dream it to look. It's been a very challenging 18, 19, however long months since I left the job. Okay. Mentally, emotionally, like it's been very, very challenging. So it is very easy because our brains are programmed deep, deep, deep in our limbic brain, at the very base of our brain. We are programmed to pay extra close attention and really scan constantly for lack and scarcity. So, removing a consistent, biweekly paycheck, stepping into a business where for quite some time there was no income or very, very little income, definitely like triggered the scarcity and lack. And so, this, like in the last couple months, it's not been the first time that I've been thinking that did I make a mistake by leaving my job? So, this is where I've circled around. I'm out skiing. This is like 2 weeks ago, I think. And all of these things are percolating through. And all of a sudden it struck me. What if that was part of my quantum leap? So I want to talk about quantum leaps for just a second here. A quantum leap, the way I understand it, the way it gets talked about a lot on the socials, is effectively you make from how we experience it as humans, you make a massive jump forward, air quotes forward, on your timeline. Meaning, let's say you, how do I clarify this? Let's say that you like well, let's say you want to start a business and all of a sudden you just like bam, you have this business and like you're making tons of money, right? So we think, and we have been told, and I get why we think this because this is what we absolutely are taught to believe about quantum leaps, that like a quantum leap is always going to land us in like all of a sudden, oh my gosh, this amazing thing arrived in my life. Look at this. I quantum leaped into this, right? It is very often talked about how business owners quantum leaped from, say, $10,000 one year to like $600,000 the next year, or from like, 5 followers on social media to 400,000 followers on social media. This is what we are modeled as what a quantum leap looks like. I'm here to challenge that. If there's one thing that I feel like I've been put in this planet for, I think this is probably one of the big ones, to challenge what we are taught, especially as it relates to our day-to-day life. Because here's what happens. If we believe that that is what a quantum leap is, then when we make decisions that dramatically shift the trajectory of our life, which might take years for them to fully play out before we see them being the quantum leap, we will beat ourselves up the whole way there. We will feel miserable the whole way there. And very likely, because we're beating ourselves up and because we're feeling miserable, we're actually causing the extension of this like miserable beating up experience, right? Because it's the whole law of attraction that what you focus on expands. So if I'm focusing on beating myself up over this decision that I made however long ago, well, then that's like just more of what I'm creating. I love how, um, I think it's Jim Fortin talks about this, that when we are feeling bad, we are miscreating. And I just think that's a really lovely way to see this. So I want to challenge our perception of a quantum leap. And I want to really encourage you to take what I'm going to share with you today and have a look over your life to go, okay, so like, where have I actually been creating these quantum shifts? And am I recognizing it? All right, so let's get into it. So, a quantum leap, really, I can't describe it in terms of physics because I'm still learning physics and I like don't understand it enough. But think about basically, um, like you're in point A and all of a sudden you're at point B. Okay, and that's what we see these quantum leaps as. Like, okay, we were, you know, like I said, the business made like $6,000 one year and then $600,000 the following year. So we see that as a quantum leap. What we don't know is all the stuff in between. Okay. So let me go back to my example of leaving the job. Here I've been often looking back going, should I have stayed? So I want to actually like crack this thought pattern, not thought pattern. I want to walk you down what it looks like, what those thoughts look like, because I know that like so many of you will feel the same way. So it's not just a passing thought of like, oh God, was this a mistake? It is a spiraling, and sometimes it can get real negative and real nasty, a spiraling of like, oh my gosh, did I make a mistake? I should have stuck it out. I know that I was having a panic attack. I realized that my body was shutting down. I know that I was miserable. I know that it was super stressful. I know that the company was um, like telling me that I had to take actions and behave in a way that completely stands against my core values, which means that I would had to figure out how to like keep a job but be completely out of integrity with myself. And then I'm feel like I'm lying to people, and how, what more stress is that going to cause? And I was experiencing some dizziness. Was that going to get worse? If I only had the one anxiety attack, was it going to have more and more? Was I then going to need to, is it going to become clinically depressed? Am I going to then have to go onto these medications? But like at the end of the day, I would have still had a job. And if I'd had a job, then maybe this situation would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't have invested in this, whatever program, but I would have had more savings in the bank. Maybe I wouldn't be, having to make the decision now between, well, what do I leverage in terms of financial tools and what can I pay for this month, right? Like this is where our brain goes. And it can get real dark and real nasty because it will spiral off and then be like, and oh, by the way, you always make terrible decisions, and like you're getting fat on top of it. And like because you're probably feeling depressed and like you feel like you're getting fat, now you're starting to eat, like, why are you eating the chips in the first place? I know you haven't eaten any chips in like 3 weeks because you really haven't had any, but like now you're being bad because now here you are having the chips when like let's be real, it's just your physiology is craving it because it's a week before your period. But like that's not allowed to be talked about. No. Oh, and by the way, while we're at it, I'm pretty sure that your husband thinks that you're a complete failure, and he's probably wondering what the hell he's doing having married you. And isn't it great that like a month after you got married, you decided to leave your job, and now he's like, great. So now like that we're married and I'm stuck with her, I'm just going to like she's just going to like take us all down. And on and on and on and on. It gets dark. I know that I am not alone in this. I am going to do it's a little unclear how it's going to come through. It might be podcast episodes, it might be like just a quiet like video group something. I'm going to be talking at some point about the state of the world because I have some thoughts. Like I think that sharing those will go a long way to help provide some comfort, some hope, some positive expectancy for all of us. But let me just say for now, there is a lot of fucking garbage happening in the world, and we are all living in the sludge while it all gets figured out, right? But that doesn't just sit outside. It doesn't just like sit, in this like out there space. That sludge, that heaviness, the scarcity thinking, the fear mongering, the just sheer ridiculousness that's happening in politics and in like global relations, that stuff impacts us, and it completely filters how we see decisions and how we take actions in our day-to-day lives. So, super easy, very natural, extremely common to make a decision to bet on yourself and then to spend the next, it could be decades that you then spend questioning if you did the right thing. Should I have left my job? Should I have stayed at my job? Was I making a mistake dating that person? Should I have married them? Should I have not married them? Why did I invest in that company? Why did I buy that car? Why did I do that renovation? Why did I not do that renovation? Why did, like on and on and on, right? And we will just spiral around this. So here's what I want to challenge you with. What if it wasn't a mistake? What if it is literally you making the quantum leap into your dream life? It just doesn't look like your dream life yet. So the clearest example that I can give about this is 2012. I have shared this story countless times. I'm not going to go super in depth. all I'm going to say is that at the beginning of 2012, I had a super hot boyfriend that I was like super into. I had a job that didn't super love, but I was, I had a job. I had an apartment that was, again, not awesome, but I had an apartment. I was healthy. I was in, pretty good shape. I could go to the gym. I had friends around me, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward like 4 months, the job is gone. The boyfriend is gone. The apartment is gone. I got kicked out of my mother's house. Like it was just on and on and on and on. It was a real sob story in 2012. My friends, most of them vanished. It was a miserable, miserable year. By the end of the year, I had an amazing new job that I was getting paid the most amount of money I've ever had in my life. I got to move into a new apartment that was like newly renovated and on the top floor and was like amazing and in the neighborhood where I wanted to be and like all these great things. I met the person who is now my husband. At the time, I just knew him as a colleague from work, but like that's literally when I met him. My body was fucking ripped because I'd spent the summer working at a farm and like running to get away from my misery, I suppose. So I was really in like fucking great shape. And now I got to move back and like go to my kickboxing gym. So the year ended way more positively than it looked like it was going to. And there's no way that I could have known. And that literally was the turning point for my entire life. I cannot oversell that. Okay. If I had stayed in the job, if I had stayed with the boyfriend, if I had stayed in the apartment, none of them were terrible, but like it wasn't great either. Then there's a chance that like my life today, I would not have this podcast. I would not be skiing in the mountains 20 plus days a year. I wouldn't live where I do. I probably would be like a mom married to this guy that I was dating and have kids, which is fine, but just isn't necessarily where I saw my life trajectory going. I'd be living still in Manitoba, which has a different energy than I wanted to be in for the rest of my life. Like there's a lot of things that change. So it was literally that year was a quantum leap, but it didn't sound sexy. It certainly was no fun getting there. And I really want you to hear this. I could not action my way out of it. Okay? I didn't do any of the things of like matching my frequency and like taking inspired action. I just literally was one step in front of the other and almost daily having to like talk myself into, I know nothing is going right now. I got to just keep going. Death is not an option. So like as long as I keep waking up, breathing, I guess I keep plugging through, right? And I think that's where so many of us are sitting right now. So we've talked about the job. Let me share which example do I want to use? I had it in my head before I sat down and I got a little bit on a tangent. It'll come to me. Okay. Let me talk about actually I've invested in a number of programs over the years, but I want to talk about a program. Yeah. I want to talk about one of the most recent ones that I have joined into. So at the start of 2025, that's where we are. Yes. I had decided I wasn't going to invest in any more programs because I've invested in a lot over the years. I invested in a number of them last year and I still have tons of program material to get through, right? Like it's not like I'm short of learning stuff. As I cracked open 2025 and was, setting my intentions for the year and doing just my consistent inner growth exercises as I keep going, one thing kept coming through so clearly, and that was to focus on identity. And I'm not going to go into the depth of it right now because that we'd be here for hours. I may do another podcast episode on it. But basically to really like stop trying to like shift the beliefs, stop trying to like do all the things, put your energy and attention into shifting your identity. So I'm like, okay, cool. How do I do that? Because like, I kind of get it, but like not really get it. So this program came up. I had zero intent, less than zero, like negative intent to enroll in this program. It just wasn't. It was not in agreement with the agreement that I had set with myself. Right? I'm like, I wasn't looking to invest in the program. I was there in the launch series to learn from this person, because you can learn a tremendous amount from different launch series. And that's it. That's what I was there for. And it was, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was just this completely calm. Okay, so we're joining the program. Are we going to pay in full, or are we going to do payments? That literally, it wasn't even a decision of do I go in or not. It was, is it pay in full or is it payments? And it was so bizarre. So I've been doing a tremendous amount of learning, and wouldn't you know, because this is how the universe works and I fucking love it, this program is all about reprogramming our identity at the deepest level in the most amazing, effortless way. Like, it's really fucking wild. And I don't think that this creator has done this before. This particular round of this particular program has a very heavy money component to it, including some very specific money training. And I'm like, well, this is fucking fascinating, because I love talking about money, right? I love learning about money. So I'm like, So I'm out for my ski day. I'm thinking about these different decisions that have been made. I mean, I could go back as far as I want to, but like, sort of in my mind, it started with the decision to leave my job. And then it's these sort of domino decisions on the way. So the two that really stood out was leaving the job and investing in this program. And here's where we get into trouble, I think, especially when it comes to not being able to see the quantum leaps in our life. We are, one second, I'm trying to get my camera to open so I can like, come on, camera. Oh my goodness. This iPhone 16 is amazing, but sometimes it drives me bonkers. Okay, here we go. Now I have to rethink where it was. Okay, we'll get there. We are, I think, I don't know if programmed is maybe the right word, but socialized is perhaps the right word, to believe that a quantum leap is always going to look super positive, always going to feel super juicy, and that we will recognize it when we are doing it. All right? Maybe I'm the only one who feels this way. I don't think I am. I think that, like, from everything that I've seen, we're really socialized into wanting the quantum leap, and like, then we're like, okay, like, show me how to do it, right? And then they go, well, just match the frequency. And I'm like, well, fuck me. If I knew how to do that, like, wouldn't that, I would have done it already. So here's the thing. We are programmed, really socialized into believing that quantum leaps are this like amazing positive experience. However, because we live our life in the day to day, it is really challenging to see the quantum leap in progress. All right? I know, like, the common example is to talk about plants. I've seen people talk about bamboo, that, like, bamboo, something needs something like 7 years underground before it finally sprouts through the soil. And then all of a sudden it just like grows like gangbusters. And like, let's just be real, okay? If you had planted the bamboo, you didn't know anything about bamboo. Like, you knew zero things about it other than you got to plant it and then trust that you've done the right thing and like keep watering it, right? But like, just trust. But you didn't know that it had a 7-year underground timeline to get ready. I'm pretty sure like 99.99999% there's probably like one person on the planet that would be like, no, I just trusted and I just left it. And I'm going to call bullshit on that, but whatever. The vast, vast, vast majority of us would look at that and go, this bamboo is defective. It's not working. I did it wrong. I fucked it up. I planted it in the wrong soil. I watered it too much. I didn't water it enough. There's something wrong with it. I guess like it's just not for me. That is what is happening when we are making decisions that are literally aligning us in these quantum leap jumps to our dream life, but we can't see it. Because let me tell you, leaving the job did not feel like a quantum leap. Investing in this program did not feel like a quantum leap. The daily work, the like hours of homework, the oh my gosh, months and months of doubt and conflict, about some of these decisions. None of that feels like what I imagined a quantum leap would feel like. It just doesn't. But when we actually step back, step out of the day to day, step out of the week to week, and even step out of like 1 year at a time and literally pull all the way out and have a look at the fullness of our life. And with that perspective, go, wait a minute, actually, that was like a real changing point. That was a massive shift for me. Like that literally, how many of us have said this? I didn't know it at the time, but that completely changed my life. All right. So here's what I want to leave you with. I want to encourage you to try it, like practice it once, either right now, like literally hit pause. Well, wait till I tell you what to practice. Practice it now, and then keep practicing it when the doubt, the self-criticism, the dark, like the death spiral shows up. Okay. Practice this. I want you to practice that zooming out. And the best thing is like, when you zoom out in such a degree, it detaches your brain from like exactly what's happening right now. It pulls away from your emotions in a healthy way, not in like a avoidance way. And you're not doing this forever. It's like a couple of seconds, but it pulls you out of your emotions. It pulls you out of the thought spiral. It pulls you out of like only being able to see what's happening right in front of you. And it sets you into a place to have some perspective. So I want you to practice this the next time. Do it now just to kind of get a feel for how it feels. And then literally the next time and every time it comes up where you have doubts, self-criticism, you get into the death spiral about a decision that you've made that you did not know if it was the correct or the incorrect decision. Okay? I want you to practice pulling out, having a look at it from the context of the fullness of your life, and then just play with, like, imagine you're a video creator, right? And like, on the one hand, you get to create this video where you had not made that decision. So maybe you did not quit the job, or you didn't take the job. You didn't marry the person. You didn't divorce the person. You didn't go on that trip. You did go on that trip, whatever it is. Like, so the decision that you feel like you weren't sure if you made the correct one. So what if you made the different decision? And just play that movie out. All right. Don't get attached to it. Don't like dump into it. Don't create a whole bunch of meaning. Literally just play it out. Kind of go, okay, so like what could have happened? And then do that for like a couple of seconds. Don't get into the spiral. All right. And then come back, pull back again to the like broader perspective of the fullness of your life. And then run down the movie following the decision you made and assuming that the decision you made is actually the turning point for everything to come together. And then start paying attention to or notice what has been showing up for you along the way. Now, this will probably feel more, I don't know if effective is the right word, but you may have a bit more clarity if there's been a bit of time between when you made the decision. Like if you made the decision yesterday, like you may not have a ton of pieces that you can pick up on to like sort of thread the movie forward. But let me give you some clarity, okay? So I'm going to run you through the job example so that you can see this in practice. So we've done the piece of like pulling ourselves out. Okay. So we're looking at this from the context of the fullness of our life. Okay. Well, the fullness of my life, but it's you and me together. So the first decision would have been I stay in the job. So if I play out that movie, it could look like that I stayed in the job. I become further and further disconnected from myself and my values because this wasn't a short period of time. It wasn't like I had a small disagreement with the person I reported into. The company has continued on the trajectory that it had already been on for a year and a half before I finally left, and it's been getting worse. So like I actually have some actual data that I can look at and go, oh, so if I had stayed, this is where I would still be, right? Then it could open the question, would I have gotten fired because, I just really couldn't work in that way and it just would have shut down my entire ability to produce? I don't know. Would I have gotten laid off? Maybe. Maybe that would have been great. Maybe I could have been packaged out. That could have offered some financial security. Cool. So let's follow that movie a little bit. Let's say I did get packaged out. Well, what would the, experience of my life be? How would I be feeling having stayed until I basically got asked to leave versus making a decision from my place of power to say, I'm out of here, right? We can play down that movie. How might that have impacted my relationship with my husband? What would that have looked like with my bank account? Sure, maybe I'd have more money in the bank right now, but would I be, a year or year and a half further behind in building my business? I don't know. Like, this is the way you just play with the movie. Don't get attached. Just kind of like, okay, so here's a few options. Okay. That's step one. Done. And it takes longer to talk it out than it does to like just do this in your head. So we come back. We come back to the neutral point. We come back to like looking at the fullness of our life, right? So we're like detached, we're neutral, we're grounded, we're chill as fuck, we're just calm. Okay. Now we go, okay, let's play the movie from the minute that I made the decision to now. And I want the movie to highlight for me the moments of synchronicity, the moments where the universe showed me that I'm moving in the direction that is aligned for me, and that I could, maybe I've missed, but I could actually interpret as proof positive that I made the quantum leap. So now I go back and go, okay, so I made the decision to leave the job. So immediately after, I'm not kidding, like I think it was the very next day. I don't remember exactly what day of the week it was that I finished, but immediately after I finished at the job, I mentioned this, for 2 months, I was like one step away from comatose. I was non-functional, physically, emotionally, mentally, absolutely fucking exhausted. I'd sleep all night. I'd get up. I'd need a nap by 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd, get up for another 4 hours. I'd need another nap at 2 o'clock. And this went on for months. Okay. So that part was like, oh my gosh, I'm broken. There's something wrong with me, which is a super fun place to be. So that's the first bit. That's where we get hung up, right? Listen, I know. I've been there. I've been in it. Okay. Then January, things start to change. My energy starts to come back. Oh, okay. I notice my focus is, okay, I want to begin, really doing some Instagram things. Oh, look at that. There's this alignment coming through that literally, as I am interested and moving my attention to how do I become better at Instagram, hey, there's this account that shows up that is literally like teaching me these really cool things that I can do for how to make reels and like how to increase following and stuff. Okay, cool. So that's a moment of alignment. Then I'm like, okay, so like I want to actually now write the program that I've had on my mind. Oh, so it's not going to be the big program. It's actually going to be this program about money. Okay, well, that's interesting. What I notice from this broad perspective is that program about money also gave me a tremendous amount of healing and inner transformation as I was literally writing and recording the program. Okay, so that's very cool. Then I go, I can keep going. I'm like, okay, so I had these money experiences. Well, these money experiences seemed really, really, really unfun at the time. But hey, look at that. I actually now have proof that I can point to for like literally the rest of my life if I need it, that I am always taken care of. All right. Well, that's kind of cool. That's an alignment that I definitely want to see more of. All right. Oh, check it out. There was this other program that taught me about money. There was this other creator that had this really amazing, I don't know, like business expansion learning. Then there was like and on and on and on up to today where it's like, whoa. So when I started this year, it was coming through so clearly to me that where I need to put my focus and energy into is shifting my identity. And then like literally 3 months later, after this awareness initially cracked open, I am brought into the sphere of this person who is literally teaching about this. And I just know this is the correct decision. And now I'm in this community of like really cool people. And I am learning how to shift my identity. And at the same time, I have this fucking amazing bonus where this person is also teaching us about money. Like, that is the coolest thing ever. And all of a sudden, when we can look at it that way and go, oh, show me the moments of alignment. Show me the moments that like I've really been supported all the way through. It's like, holy shit, how can I possibly doubt this all the way through? But that's what happens. And I think that's what I want to really leave you with today is that I think we've been possibly misunderformed. Definitely think we misunderstood. What does a quantum leap look like? How do we recognize it happening in our life? I also want to really just let you know there's, I think, two ways. You're not going to like my answer. There are two ways that I can think of that you will know that you are having or had a quantum leap in your life. All right. The first way tells you that you are having a quantum leap in your life. And that is your life is burning down. Doesn't have to be every part. Okay. Like my relationship with my husband is still solid. My health is solid. My friendships are solid. Our home is beautiful. Like all those things are still great. But this internal piece of me especially as it relates to who I am as a professional in the world is just been like on fire in the weirdest way. It's been completely getting on fire is probably not the, well, anyway, it's been getting completely revamped, like gutted from the inside out. Doesn't feel fun, doesn't feel joyful, mostly feels like, what the fuck is happening right now? Why am I such a dismal failure? Right? Like that's what it feels like. So how do you know you're in a quantum leap? Well, have a look. Is your life falling apart around you? Have you wanted a wonderful, loving, supportive, amazing, sexy, passionate, romantic partner in your life? And if so, is that something that you've had before? And if not, what's happening in your romance life right now? Does it seem like suddenly let's say you're interested in men, like all the guys that you kind of were maybe like had little flings with or were, I don't know, call them like on the bench or whatever, have they all just suddenly vanished? Do you feel like all of a sudden you can't get a date no matter what you try? You feel just entirely like undesirable and you're like, what the fuck is going on right now? Right? That's possible. When our life starts melting, it's very often because it is in massive rearrangement. Okay. So that's what a quantum leap is like in the process of the leaping. It feels not awesome. It's not that it has to feel that way, but like my understanding of what I've seen time and time again, unless you are very enlightened and highly evolved and probably working with a very in tune spiritual teacher and guide, is that you probably don't know that's what's happening because when you're in it, you're like, my life is melting to the ground. Okay, cool. So that's the first way that you know if you are in a quantum leap. The second way to know that you have had a quantum leap can only be had when you are on the other side of it. Literally, if you asked me in June of 2012, hell, if you had asked me at like this time of the year, right, of 2012, so end of April, if I was experiencing a quantum leap, I'd be like, I have no fucking idea. All I know is that literally my entire life is melting around me. What the fuck is going on? I didn't know. And there was no way that I could have possibly foreseen. I'd never heard of the company that I got the job with. It never in a million years would have occurred to me that I could meet, date, and eventually marry a man who lived 1,400 kilometers away from me. Like, that was just bizarre. I remember, and we joke about this now, when he first suggested to come to Winnipeg to meet me, I was like, yeah, sure. Like, that'd be sure. Of course we can meet. And he's like, no, like, for real, I'm thinking, I don't have any expectations, but I think that we have a really good thing going. And I'm like, sure. Like, whatever. In my head, I'm like, no guy from Calgary is going to fly to Winnipeg, pay for a flight, take the weekend off just to come meet me. Like, I'm not that amazing or special or whatever. I'm just fucking me. And then when he finally sent me his flight itinerary, I was like, holy shit, he's actually coming to meet me. Like, I never would have, I don't even think I could have fathomed that. Like, I don't think I've ever seen it in a movie. I don't think that was ever possibly on my radar as a thing that could happen. And yet it did, right? But if you asked me in April of 2012 or June of 2012, Amy, are you having a quantum leap year? But like, I hope so, but Jesus, everything right now is happening on faith, because what it looks like is my whole life is being napalmed. That's what it looks like and feels like. So the second way to know, and it's a post-mortem experience, not a mid-mortem experience, is, well, I know I've had a quantum leap because my life has completely shifted. And let's just color that in a little bit. So what could that look like? Okay, so we talked about you want to have this amazing romantic relationship. So you've never had one before, right? Your relationships before, I mean, it could be a billion different things. All of a sudden, I say all of a sudden with a little smirk and some air quotes around it, all of a sudden you find yourself in this really amazing, you've met this guy who's like fucking hot and you're super attracted to him, and he's smart and he's kind and he's supportive and he's like all the things that you wanted. You're having the best sex of your life, and also you can like talk with him about anything, and like you know that like he's not afraid of what you're going after in life. He doesn't feel threatened by you, and you're like, what is this? This is amazing. And you have all these amazing things. Before, that was never a thing that existed, but you had this like mess where you had to really go inside yourself and meet yourself and learn to be comfortable with yourself. And that felt like garbage. And then all of a sudden, this amazing soul showed up. Well, that was a quantum leap. You were in the muck of it, being rearranging yourself so that you would be ready for and a beautiful match to this desire that you had. If you want, perhaps it was a job, okay? It's a great one. So let's say you've been working kind of, I don't know, entry-level jobs or maybe mid-management level jobs much of your career, but you've always known you've had this like calling for more. And suddenly you just feel like every opportunity you're being barred from. These jobs that should have easily been yours, you can't even get in the door. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, have I become this like leper within the professional world? Like, what is going on? And then as a result, you are upgrading your skills. You are growing your network. You are learning and practicing new abilities in your current work through, expanding projects, whatever. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in this massive upgrade of a job where you've doubled your salary. You have way more impact. You feel fucking on fire every single day. And you're like, oh my gosh, this just landed in my lap. No, you were in the process of rearranging yourself so that you'd be this beautiful match for this job. But that's the thing with the quantum leaps, is that in the process of the leaping, it looks mostly just like a dumpster fire. And a whole lot of self-doubt and self-criticism. And it's very easy for us, especially in this particular vibe of the planet, to feel resigned to what is. And I want to leave today's episode with an encouragement to not get locked in your circumstances as the only thing that's possible for you, and keep trusting, keep following inspired action. You are not here to like go crazy with just forced action to try to get yourself out of this. Relax into it. Let it be miserable. It's fine. It's, the beauty of misery is that when the joy and the love and the fun and the expansion comes through, it's going to feel so fucking good, because you understand through contrast what life feels like without that. So let it just be kind of miserable and gross for a little while. All right. And then the last thing I'll say, I've mentioned this a few times. I will keep mentioning this because I think this is important and it's really good practice for me. I have, I think, lost myself in the calendar. So this is actually going to come out on the 30th of April. So last week I was like, it's the last day. Technically today is the last day. There are 2 options for working with me one-on-one. Who cares what the sales are at the moment? I have an option to work with me for a 90-minute session. Okay. You just book one 90-minute session with me. We will go straight into whatever it is that you want to talk about. These 90-minute sessions are great if you're really, really stuck in the muck. If you're like, fuck, I don't understand how to kind of keep going. I cannot promise you that I will just give you like the keys to life, but I can promise you that we will create some powerful shifts inside that 90 minutes that will make the journey forward a little bit easier, a shorter distance to where you are desiring to go, and you will feel less alone. Those 3 things are fucking gold when you are in the dark. All right. And you don't even have to be in the dark. Like, let's say you're working through a work challenge, whatever. Like, we can chat about all kinds of things. The other opportunity that I have for you is a 3-month container where you work with me one-on-one. We meet once a week. We have 11 sessions in total. I have to literally like pull myself back from like explaining the structure, but here, I'll give you the quick structure. For 3 weeks, we meet once a week. And then we have a week off. I want to give you a week to integrate and practice. You have full support. You get my full support through text, audio, video on WhatsApp through business hours, so Monday to Friday. So you're fully supported and cheered on and held accountable for, and learning, and like literally you are going to be tapping into all of the wisdom and knowledge and experience that I already have. And you have front row access to all of the really fucking powerful learnings that I am taking on right now. And for those who have worked with me, who have been with me in this container, this very close container where they get direct access to my learnings as they're coming through, I can guarantee you all of them are like, holy fucking shit, this is amazing. I don't fire hose you with information. I give you what you need exactly when you need it, because the universe pairs us together like that. So that 3-month container is also available, and I highly recommend for maybe you're in the muck of it. Maybe you know that you want to quantum leap, right? Maybe you're like, okay, I'm kind of bored with life and I want to make this shift. There's all kinds of things that we can use that 3-month container for. We can talk about money. We can talk about relationships. We can talk about your career. We can talk about health, life, like whatever you're wanting to focus on. Those options are available. So the links for both are in the show notes. You can book a one-on-one coaching session with me for 90 minutes. And I think you can book it like, I think I have it set to like I need 48 hours notice because I got to be able to often rearrange my schedule. Or we can get into the 3-month container, and there is both a full pay and a payment option for you. With that, my love, please let me know if today's episode has resonated with you in some way. If there's something new that you learned, or an expansion that you gained, or an awareness that has arrived for you as a result of what I've shared with you today, you can reach out to me on Instagram or on TikTok. Just send me a DM. I think Instagram is the easiest place probably to find me. And just let me know. Again, the links for the socials are in the show notes as well. I am so grateful to be here with you this week. If you would like, please share this episode. Tag me on the socials if you're sharing anything. And I trust that you've gained some clarity. With that, I need to go find myself a snack. It's almost dinner time. All right, my loves. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform and help me reach more like-minded people who are ready to expand their life. If you haven't yet followed me on social media, find me on Instagram for extra love and inspiration by following @AmyVanMeal, or visit my website at amyvanmeal.com. I love you so much, babe, and I am damn proud of you. I am already excited to connect in the next episode. And in the meantime, believe in yourself with the confidence of a 5-year-old.